Okay, module number 12. Hope you're feeling good, and I hope that you are taking the time to do your I Now Choose to Believe beliefs as part of your media mindset mastery. But for today, we're moving into module 12. We're going to be talking about the 5 common mistakes people make when pitching to producers. Okay, now this is a thing. We went through this in the last module, right? The most effective way to pitch to producers is with just one phone call. But I did want to talk about thoughts of what you should not do, because a lot of people make mistakes. And if you didn't catch the video in the opening section of my website, I did want to make sure that I shared this information with you as well, because you don't want to be one of those 5 people, or I guess there's more than 5 people making mistakes, but you don't want to make the 5 common mistakes that people make when pitching to the media. So grab your pen and paper, because here we go. These are the things not to do, so please make sure to avoid them. Okay, number 1. Not pitching to the right person, okay? Media outlets get an enormous amount of mail and phone calls, okay? Now, I know we've talked about this. Some startups think that when it comes to, sending out volume, that lists are key. Just do a big email blast and BCC everyone. And of course, technology's made that much easier for us to send a ton of pitches at the same time. But don't do it, okay? Please, 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 before reaching out to media, whether it's magazines, radio, or television, you have to do your research on what journalist or segment producer covers your type of industry and what type of story you're wanting them to highlight, okay? Because different producers cover different beats. This is why we have our spreadsheet and we have an outlined list of who the gatekeeper is, what their contact info is, and how you can move forward, okay? So that's number 1. Don't pitch everyone at the same time, tailor it in. Number 2. Have a pitch that's too, or I'm sorry, mistake number 2 is having a pitch that's too generic. All right, generic pitches are absolutely going to be ignored, right? Would you want to hear a story that doesn't have a solid angle or relevant details? No. That is why you're crafting your hot topics and your hooks, right? You have to tailor your hook to make sure you get a response from an editor or a producer, so that they can make sure to identify and share the right points of your story, right? Because it's a story, it's not a product, and it's not a promotion. Once you've identified what your story angle is, then you go out and then you pitch to outlets, right? We're following our own advice, our own format, our own formula that we're going through here in the 21 days of Make Media Matter. All right, number 3, mistake number 3, not offering anything of value. Too often people are pitching the media without making it clear what their angle really is. So producers and editors, they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones who have to understand easily what value you're bringing to the audience. So again, we have to give them something that their viewers or their readers actually care about hearing. So you might be super enamored with your newest invention, but please make sure that it is audience-centric. That's exactly what we were talking about before. So we're going to move on to the next one. All right. Number 5. We want to make sure that we don't have too much technical jargon in our pitch. Okay? Like biochemistry, we talked about, might be your thing, but you have to ask yourself, what percentage of the viewing audience is actually going to be that scientific, right? Not a lot. So remember, the most media caters to the masses. Unless you're planning to pitch to MIT or to some Science Expo podcast, please, please, please make sure to make your language masses friendly. Okay? And finally, I think I may have gotten out of order, but this is the last one. So finally, we are talking about not properly following up. This is a common mistake that people make, but this one's a little bit tricky because on the one hand, you don't want to over-contact. And on the other hand, you don't just want to reach out once and hope for the best, right? So the play here is to call once. And if you've properly set up your media pitch, you should just get through with one phone call. But if you don't, leave it a little bit and you can follow up with one email, okay? And then in the event that they haven't said yes, which we are pretty certain they will, but in the event that they haven't, you want to give it 3 to 6 weeks, okay? They're busy. They may have tagged it, flagged it, put it to the side, put you on a list, but it's going to take them a little while. So you want to leave it for 3 to 6 weeks and then repeat. Okay, the trick is not to get stuck in a loop of repeat, 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 with no response from the other side, okay? So you need to ask yourself, how successful have your media pitching efforts been? Now that you've landed that attention from them, right? This is where your preparation, your polishing, your pitch is going to come in handy. So if you've landed high quality media coverage from sending emails to reporters, fantastic. If you haven't, don't worry, because that's why you're taking this course, right? So that you can be trained on what to do rather than on what not to do. And so that you can gain that coveted media spot and catapult yourself ahead of your competition.